Everyone dreams of something greater, yet an unseen force seems to hold them back. It's not the world outside, but the quiet resistance within whispering, "You can't." Fear hides beneath comfort, disguised as logic, but it's the invisible wall between you and your potential. The unseen weight of hesitation creeps in as overthinking and endless, waiting for the right time. We call it preparation, but it's often paralysis. Comfort feels safe, yet it numbs growth, turning bright ambition into quiet repetition. Most people think their limits come from lack of time or talent, but it's fear that truly binds them. Fear of rejection, failure, or even success. Fear whispers doubts until you start to believe them, trapping you in patterns that feel like protection. Fear always asks, "What if I fall?" Yet your spirit quietly replies, "What if I fly?" Growth begins when you lean into uncertainty, when you take the first trembling step toward the unknown, trusting that your wings will remember how to open. The obstacles holding you back aren't visible chains, but invisible thoughts. They live in unchallenged stories that quietly direct your life. The moment you ask, "What if I'm the one in my way?" everything begins to shift toward freedom. Every belief you carry was learned through repetition, through emotion, through someone else's fear. And if it was learned, it can be unlearned. You are free to rewrite your inner narrative and design a reality that matches who you are becoming. Limiting beliefs are born in pain. A single failure can echo for years. One rejection becomes a rule. One loss becomes a warning. But you are not the memory that hurt you. You are the strength that survived it and learned to rise again. You are not your past. You are the meaning you give it. Every mistake can become a teacher or a prison. When you choose to see lessons instead of limits, every scar turns into evidence of courage. We build invisible cages from the stories we repeat. "I'm not ready. I'll fail again. It's too late." Words become walls, yet walls can be rewritten. The first step toward freedom begins with changing your inner language. The path to freedom begins with awareness. You can't break a chain you won't admit exists. The moment you see the pattern, it begins to dissolve. Awareness is the first light that cracks the walls of limitation. Awareness brings choice. Each time you act differently than your fear expects, you reclaim control. Real transformation doesn't come from massive change, but from small, repeated acts of courage. Excuses are fear dressed as logic. "I'm busy, not ready, later." The perfect time doesn't exist, only the courage to start. Once you move, the energy to continue reveals itself. Courage doesn't shout, it whispers, "Do it anyway." Progress begins when you take the first uncertain step while your heart is still racing. Fear fades faster in motion than it does in waiting. Action melts fear like sunlight on ice. Every small move creates momentum. Every effort builds proof. You don't need to see the finish line, just the next step forward. Most people stay stuck because they focus on what might be lost instead of what could be gained. But risk is the doorway to freedom. The moment you walk through fear, the path expands beneath your feet. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the signal that growth is near. Every challenge strengthens the muscle of courage. When you stop avoiding discomfort, it becomes your greatest teacher. Confidence is not born, it's built. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen belief. Repetition transforms doubt into discipline, and discipline into certainty. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a requirement. Every setback hides direction. Every mistake reveals a lesson. The key is to keep learning while moving forward. Comparison drains energy and blurs focus. You can't grow while staring at someone else's journey. Measure only against who you were yesterday. That's the only race that matters. Perfectionism pretends to be ambition, but it's fear in disguise. Waiting until you're ready becomes the greatest delay. Progress happens when you allow yourself to begin imperfectly. Let go of the illusion of control. Life's uncertainty isn't a threat. It's a teacher. The achiever learns to trust the direction more than the details, walking in faith toward growth. You don't need permission to begin. Approval will never arrive in the mail. It's created through decision. The world moves for those who act with conviction, not those who wait for validation. Fear of judgment keeps many from moving. We imagine others watching, but most are too busy fighting their own fears. The moment you stop seeking approval, your freedom begins. You can't rise while carrying the weight of other people's opinions. Release the need to please, and the sky opens wider. The moment you let go, your wings remember what they were made for. The mind will always find a reason to wait, but the heart only asks you to begin. You'll never feel ready, and that's how you know it's time. Growth begins where comfort ends. Every act of courage rewrites your story. Each small victory becomes proof that you can. Progress was never about perfection. It was always about persistence. The walls that hold you back don't collapse overnight. They crumble slowly with every act of resilience. Consistency is how fear loses its shape and confidence takes its place. Freedom isn't a destination. It's built through daily choices. Each time you choose courage over comfort, you strengthen the foundation of your wings. Fear never disappears completely. It becomes familiar. You learn to walk with it, not run from it. True bravery isn't silence. It's movement through the noise of uncertainty. The only real failure is refusing to begin. Every setback is preparation, every mistake a rehearsal. Life rewards those who move before they're ready. What holds you back isn't circumstance, but belief. The story you tell yourself creates the world you live in. Change the story, and the limits fade like shadows at sunrise. You were never truly held back. Resistance was just life preparing your strength. This is your moment to rise. Not tomorrow, not later, but now.